Well, if you're wondering why farmers are so concerned about their farm finances right now, they really just can't catch a break. It's not just because corn prices are below break even for most. It's the fact input prices are so high.
The American Corn Belt is collapsing, and most people still don't realize it. For generations, the United States stood as the undisputed king of corn. From Iowa to Indiana, from the banks of the Mississippi to the vast Great Plains, American corn fed the world. Year after year, the U.S. was the world's top exporter of corn. But that crown has now slipped. And it's not just slipping, it's falling fast. Corn prices have crashed. Fields are waterlogged, with combines sitting idle. Grain once worth millions is being rejected at ports. In places like Shelby County, Iowa, corn is piling up in silos with nowhere to go. Meanwhile, Canada is sealing billion-dollar corn supply deals with Japan, South Korea, and the European Union. This isn't just a price dip. It's a shift in global power. If the trend continues, it could wipe out thousands of farms, devastate rural economies, and fracture one of the most iconic agricultural chains in U.S. history. So, what just happened? Let's pull back the curtain. Corn prices now hover around $3.50 per bushel, well below break-even for most farmers. But the deeper crisis isn't just the price. It's the cost of staying in the game. On March 14, 2025, the Federal Grain Inspection Service issued Directive 9180.40, raising the pesticide residue testing fee from $57 to $81 per sample, a 40% increase in one season. Every lot of corn exported must pass this test. No certificate, no shipment. At the same time, the White House imposed tariffs of up to $1.5 million per trip on Chinese-built cargo ships. That single policy raised Gulf of Mexico shipping costs by 25%. Port data shows export expenses are now up by $930 million per year. The result? Barges are stalled, docks are jammed, exporters are backing out. More than 180 vessels sat anchored off the coast of New Orleans without movement this spring. Meanwhile, Iowa's corn soaked in rain, and Indiana's grain began to rot. Every idle bushel loses 27 cents per day, just by sitting still. But that's only half the picture. While the U.S. stacked costs and red tape, the rest of the world changed the rules. In February 2025, Mexico, the top buyer of U.S. corn, banned genetically modified corn. Asia and Europe quickly followed, embedding similar standards into their feed contracts. But here's the problem: 92% of American corn is genetically modified. That makes it off limits. Canada, however, saw it coming. Thanks to its Prairie Trace blockchain system, every lot of Canadian grain is traceable from seed to ship. It's certified GMO-free, glyphosate-free, and compliant with the EU's RED II carbon standards. In today's market, that traceability is worth a premium. That's why corn in Manitoba is selling for $4.20 per bushel, while corn in Cedar Rapids sits at $3.74. It's not because Canadian corn tastes better. It's because buyers trust it more. Meanwhile, U.S. grain elevators are overflowing. The USDA estimates that more than 2.5 billion bushels of corn will remain unsold by the end of September, the largest surplus in 6 years. According to Reuters, some families are holding back 90% of their crop, waiting for prices to rebound. But hope doesn't pay interest. In the background, costs keep rising. Harvesting an acre of corn in Iowa now tops $165. Some farmers are selling their John Deere 660 combines on Craigslist. Others are picking up night shifts as Uber drivers. That's not an exaggeration. It's survival. The American Corn Belt, once the engine of global food security, is now facing its biggest reckoning in decades. Unless policy, infrastructure, and production practices evolve fast, the U.S. may soon find itself out of a game it once dominated. And now this crisis is dragging everything else down with it. According to the Indiana State Economic Council, the economy underneath the Corn Belt shrank by 6.1% in the first quarter of 2025, the second largest decline in the country. With farm income drying up, rural counties are seeing a surge in food assistance requests. The Food Bank of Indiana reports demand is up 50% compared to last year. At the same time, a proposed federal budget cut could wipe out 133 million meals from food aid programs. In rural Illinois, school districts are switching to 3-day weeks to conserve energy. Nebraska has started rationing irrigation water, limiting it to just 13 inches per acre. Grain co-ops have stopped purchasing altogether because the bins are full. In Hastings, Nebraska, a local diner is closing its kitchen before 6 p.m. every night. There are simply no customers. They're calling this a zombie economy. The buildings still stand, but the cash flow is gone. Now back to the story. The final blow may come from ethanol. According to the Energy Information Administration, ethanol plants across the Midwest are running at just 87.8% of capacity. 25 facilities have gone offline, idling 1.26 billion gallons of production. In Columbus, Nebraska, Valero has cut 60% of its night shift workforce, eliminating 120 jobs. This isn't just about corn anymore. It's a collapse in confidence across the entire agricultural chain. Meanwhile, Canada is quietly writing a new playbook. Export Development Canada is now offering credit insurance on single-lot grain exports, covering up to 50% of cold chain logistics to preserve carbon certifications. The CSKOA agreement with South Korea opened the door wide for Canadian organic grain. Grain farmers of Ontario report old crop basis premiums ranging from $130 to $187 above Chicago Board of Trade futures. New crop contracts? They're fetching $149 more per bushel. Canada isn't just exporting corn. It's exporting certainty. And that's why Asian feed mills are shifting their contracts north. Even Rotterdam trading desks now list Canadian full container corn shipments at 18% premiums over U.S. offers. Meanwhile, U.S. grain ship traffic through the Gulf of Mexico is down 14% compared to last year. To top it off, Canada is routing empty shipping containers through Vancouver straight into the American Midwest, taking advantage of lower backhaul rates and beating U.S. exporters at their own logistics game. The map is changing, and the market is voting with its wallet. If Washington doesn't act fast, this won't stop at corn. 92% of U.S. soybean acreage is genetically modified. Europe has already excluded American soy from its low-carbon import list. From there, it spreads to dairy. Higher feed costs will crush small farms. Then comes beef. Corn-fed cattle will face higher carbon taxes than Canadian and Australian livestock, both of which are aligned with net zero targets by 2030. At this point, the United States has two choices. Option 1 * roll back tariffs on clean tech, open paths to blockchain-based traceability, and align carbon standards with global trade partners. Option 2 * double down. Keep the tariffs, keep the inspection bottlenecks, and lean harder on subsidies. That second path? It's the same one that gutted the Rust Belt rail economy 30 years ago. And now the Midwest is standing at a similar crossroads. The question isn't whether corn prices will bounce back. It's whether entire towns will vanish before they do. Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.